Welcome to this video where we are going to be talking about JUnit testing, specifically how to perform JUnit testing in Visual Studio Code. As you can see, I have Visual Studio Code open right now, so I'm going to start by making a new project. You already know how to do this, but this may serve as review for some of you who are a little wobbly on the subject. So I'll click on Create Java Project, no build tools. I will find some place to store it. I guess I'll just put this on the desktop. That'll work. Select the project location, and I'm going to call it Testing Demo. All right, so as usual, I have my source folder with app.java. Once I have selected a Java-based project, I should be able to click on the flask here in the action bar, and the sidebar is for testing, and you'll see a button that says Enable Java Tests. Click on that, and then click on JUnit Jupyter. That's the test framework that we want to use. And it says that test libraries have been downloaded into lib. We can verify that. If I open up the lib folder, I will see I've got some sort of a jar file that contains all the code that I need to do JUnit testing. All right, so that's step one, getting set up. Next, what we have to do is provide something to test. So I'm just going to quickly add a file here. I will select the source folder, and you know what? Just to remind people of how packages use, I'm actually going to put this in a package. So with the source folder selected, I'm going to make a new folder, and I'll just call it tester. So that's the name of my package. And then in here, I'm going to create a file, which I'm going to call calculator.java. And I now have my calculator class, and I'm going to write a couple of int methods, I guess. Let's see, we'll call this one add. And of course, we will return a minus b. Oops. Sometimes these mistakes happen, and we're going to call sub, and we'll do a and b, and we'll return a plus b. Oops, again. All right, so I have my class here that I want to perform tests on. And I am going to then create my actual testing class. I can do that in tester, or I can do that in the default package. I have app.java selected, so if I click here, because I'm not inside the tester folder, it will create it in the default package. That's to say there won't be a package statement at the top of the file. Let's just see that. So I'm going to call this testing.java, and there it is. And then I'm going to write a series of tests. So to write a test, I'm going to have to write @test, and then I will write the name of the test. Actually, I'll write the entire test at this point. Starting with the signature should be void, and I'm going to call this test addition, and the parameter list should be empty here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a calculator object, and then I am going to have it do a calculation. Now there are a number of different ways I could do this. I'll create my sample data here and here. And then I'm going to have my expected result, which will be, of course, 30. My actual result is going to be calc.add xy. And then I'm going to claim that they are equal. Assert equals and expected and actual. And my test is now allegedly, once I get all the syntax mistakes fixed, my test is complete. And you notice here I have a little green arrow here so I could perform this test. The next test I'm going to do is going to be just the same, except it's going to do subtraction, of course. So we'll change this to subtraction. And I expect 10 minus 20 to be minus 10. And I also expect that I can spell calc right, but not all the time. And I'm going to call that sub. And now I have two tests. once the processor gets around to looking at it. To notice that this isn't a test until I label it as such. So I do need that test annotation there at the top. Now I have 2 tests. And if I then go to the testing, I can do this in a couple of different ways. The easiest way is just to click here and it will run both tests. So it says click to run tests, click right for more options. So I run it, and then when I look at the testing sidebar, I can see that there were 0 out of 2 tests passed. And I can see that the testing demo is in the default package, and both of these tests failed. So that's a disappointment. So I'm going to bring the calculator up. And in fact, I'm going to use this trick that I've talked about before. I am going to drag this into the editor and to the right of the file that I'm currently working on. There we go. And so now I can see both of them at the same time, which is quite handy. By the way, the symbology now is much better in Visual Studio Code. It actually shows you right where the line failed and why it failed. This is really pretty impressive stuff. We discovered it in class when I was demoing this the other day. So I'm going to look at this and see, okay, this should be a plus. There we go. I'm going to rerun my tests. This is a little bit, I don't know, a little bit cheap. There's an X here, and this is the icon. You just have to know that we'll run all the tests. I run it, and now one of the tests succeeded. I cogitate a little bit more over here, run again, and this time I get all tests successful. You do JUnit testing in your labs or projects, what I'm going to want you to do is, after you've completed the JUnit testing, to take a screenshot of this sidebar right here, and I should see a plethora of green check marks indicating that the test was successful. That's it for this video. Ask in class or during office hours if you have any questions about it.